Hello and welcome to episode 0 of High Ticket Sales Podcast, High Ticket Sales 2026 podcast for coaches and healers. I'm Heather Wild, your host. And in this episode, I'm going to be going into what changed in 2025, why it changed, and giving you an overall preview about why we need to update our marketing and sales systems for 2026 if we want to survive, basically. And I'm also going to be giving you a little bit of my story so that you understand, like, I really know what I'm talking about. Okay, so jumping right in. If I can get back to the place in my Google Notes. Okay, so I've been in the online world since 2013. And so I have seen like all these sales and marketing trends come and go. And what changed in 2025 was the big things that changed in 2025 was that automation and funnels started slowing as far as like their conversions. They weren't converting as well. That new leads started taking months to convert. People that used to convert after just watching a few reels into high ticket clients started taking their time, and selling directly into high ticket offers stopped working as well. So if you were doing CTAs that were directly to your sales page or to book a discovery call, you probably saw your high ticket sales slump. And don't freak out, because it was happening to everyone. Even super established online entrepreneurs saw their high ticket sales slump, and opt-ins, go down and everything. So it was just an overall trend. Now, why did this happen? Basically, buyer behavior and buyer psychology shifted drastically. And what it came down to was that buyers, especially high ticket buyers, became a lot more savvy, and they started really taking their time to make decisions. Now, why did that happen? Too many people bought premium programs. I mean, spent anywhere from $1,000 to $20,000 on coaching programs or healers. And they were a lot of like over promising and under delivering. So a lot of what happened, and I saw this in a lot of my investments, not all of them, obviously, but a lot of my high ticket investments were things where I got a lot of information, but there wasn't enough support built into the offer so that I actually got enough support to implement correctly. Okay. Because there's a difference between implementing and implementing correctly. If you don't have enough support, you may have really good information, but if you are implementing that information and you don't have someone kind of like checking your work, looking over your shoulder, you often end up working your ass off and not getting results. And you don't understand why, because you did everything you were supposed to do. Okay. So, and then some people even experienced mentors, healers that were dismissive or even abusive. I know that I had that happen a few times. So now people still want high ticket. They still want transformation. They're still willing to invest in their transformation, or in their businesses, but there's a trust deficit. Okay. So now, and as of, 2025, and I think we started seeing this a little bit in 2024, but definitely in 2025 and definitely going into 2026, people need a lot more details about your offers and methods. You can't just, you can't just have like some really good marketing and some flashy reels and some, really impressive testimonials that people buy. Like, they want to know actually a lot more. They're going to ask you a lot more questions about your offer and your methods. High ticket buyers, especially, they need a way to experience your methods for themselves so they can see, like, will this actually work for me before they jump into high ticket stuff. And there's ways of doing that without you working for free. And I'll be talking about that in other episodes. They need to know that you're actually committed. This is the big one, that you're actually committed to helping them, that you are really the real deal, that you know your stuff, and that you are going to be there for them and be supportive of them even after you get their credit card. So this is what, and if they get a hint of a whiff of any kind of pressure or overhyping, they are going to run for the hills. Doesn't matter if they think that you might really be the person for them. If they start feeling pressured or they feel like you are blowing sunshine up their ass, they're not going to buy. They're going to keep researching. They're going to find somebody else. Okay. So all of this is what I call the post-hype era of coaching and healing. And although 2025 was a really tough year for a lot of people, ultimately, this is a really, really good thing, because what this means is that people, like, what works now is honesty and transparency in marketing, and then sales based on trust and making sure that somebody's a good fit, not on just trying to sell to anybody. So this sucks for the people out there, the fraudsters and the scammers and the people that, maybe they're the real deal, maybe they really don't know their stuff, but they were content to put out programs that didn't really produce consistent results for most of their clients. Those kind of people, they're screwed. But those of us who I call the real deal, like the real ones, the coaches and healers who are about more than just making money. We want the time and location and money freedom, but we also are really deeply committed to providing offers and services that truly serve our clients, that are really going to help them get transformations and help the majority of them get transformations, not just, cherry pick a few that we get to talk about their big results, right? So if you are not comfortable with the overhyped marketing, it was really, really hard if you weren't willing to lean into those boss babe bro marketer tactics. We had to work twice as hard to get our high ticket clients. But now we can do that. We can do like more honest and transparent marketing, and people are actually going to be a lot more attracted to us. Trust-based sales always converted better as long as you had good clients, or if you had, as long as you had good leads. And I'll be talking more about how to find and attract your ready to buy leads in episode 3. Episode 2, sorry, which is going to be all about like trust-based selling and the DMs and sales calls. But the marketing was really hard if you weren't willing to just go over the top and like overhype things. So that has really changed in 2026. So that's what's going on. All right, now I want to tell you a little bit about me so that you can understand, like, I know my stuff. Okay. So I just a little bit of my history. I come from a highly dysfunctional family, and I have experienced severe depression and anxiety my entire life. But I've done a lot of recovering. Therapy helped, but it wasn't until I got into personal and spiritual growth, and especially until I started investing with life coaches, transformational coaches, healers, that kind of stuff, that things really started to shift for me. And I was so excited to finally be getting some relief that I wanted to be a part of this. I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to help people and inspire them and be able to support them in making change. So in 2009, I went to Coach U in-person training in Chicago. And I really loved coaching. I really loved it. I was so passionate about it, but I could not figure out how to market and sell. So in 2013, I started investing in like high ticket business coaching. And at first it was like a bunch of group programs. And then later on, a bunch of one-to-one coaches. But what I found, especially in the early days, is that the strategies they were teaching just they weren't aligned, right? I just wasn't willing to lie or even skew the truth in my marketing. I felt very uncomfortable with it. And the mentors weren't, my business coaches weren't willing to help me customize it. It was just like, this is the only way to sell, get over it. And then the other thing that I noticed, especially in the group programs, was that there was not enough support to implement what I was learning effectively. So same thing that has caused this trust deficit that we're seeing in the online world now, that's making it harder to make high ticket sales. I was seeing this even back in I think it was like 2015 when I really started to put it together after I'd made, several investments. And, with the big group programs, like there definitely wasn't enough support, but then even in some of my one-to-one coaching, there just wasn't enough support for me to actually do things effectively. Let me know in the comments if you've had that experience. So in 2019, I had actually quit coaching, like, I don't know, at least 4 times, and gone and gotten 9-to-5 jobs that I hated. And in 2019, I was working as a limo driver. And I was at the Atlanta airport. I had been on my feet, waiting for this guy for like an hour, and I was really tired. And all of a sudden I got this download, and it was like a thought so loud that I knew it wasn't me. Like I didn't literally hear it, but that's how it like registered. It was like a thought so loud that I knew it didn't come from me. And the message was, anything that I do that's not coaching and healing, and it literally came as, anything you do that's not coaching or healing is a waste of your gifts and talents and abilities. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, okay, so I have to learn to sell. And the best I could hope for was that I would find a way of selling that didn't make me want to throw up in my mouth. Like I hated sales. But I went back and I started really geeking out about the materials from previous programs. And there was one program that was like way less icky than the others. There were still some things that I was like, but I went back and I realized that I could sell and make it more of like a consultation type, like where I was really talking to somebody and making sure it was a good fit. And it wasn't about me trying to convince them. It wasn't me trying to prove anything to them. It definitely wasn't about me overcoming objections or, lying to people. Like it was genuinely just a conversation between 2 adults about, hey, are these methods going to work for you? Is this program going to provide you the type of support? That kind of stuff. And it felt like really, really good. And to my surprise, my total shock and surprise, I actually started to enjoy selling. So My intention was to go back to being a transformational coach, but I thought about myself and all the other really talented coaches and healers that I knew, and I mean, these people that like I hired that were just amazing. I knew so many people that were so talented and so passionate and had so much integrity, and they were generally not the ones that were making the most money. And a lot of it was because they had not had enough adequate support or good information or aligned strategies given to them that they could actually use to get consistent sales in their businesses. So I realized that I could have a much bigger ripple effect by empowering soul-led coaches and healers to sell in a way that felt good to them and that would actually get them the kind of clients they needed, so they could thrive financially while actually living their soul's purpose. And my close rate, when I was trying to do the unaligned pushy tactics, was maybe 10%. So I was doing like 10 sales calls just to get one client. And I was underselling myself like crazy. But with my high vibe, what I call now my aligned as fuck sales method, I started closing 70% of my calls. So huge, huge jump. And many of my advanced clients, so people that were already making some high ticket sales before they started working with me, they just needed to be able to make them easier, faster, and more consistently. Those clients, 3 to 6 times their close rates, generally in less than 90 days. I had one that was like a little over 90 days. And they felt better about the way that they were selling. I have spent over $100,000 on just my online business education. And so I've had coaches and courses and stuff all about social media marketing, copywriting, online selling, mindset, like all kinds of stuff. And then for my personal and spiritual growth, I have spent and health coaching, fitness coaching, alternative healing, breath work, all kinds of stuff. I've spent at least $30,000 on that stuff. So I know this industry backwards and forwards, both as a business coach, as an online marketer and seller myself, and also as a consumer, right? And I've got unique insight into your high ticket buyers because chances are I have bought high ticket from someone that's in your niche or a niche that's very similar to yours. So I'm really excited to have you here for this High Ticket Sales 2026 podcast. And I would love to know, like in the comments, since I shared, a little bit of my background, how I became a business coach, how did you choose your niche or your modality? And if you want to get the workbook, there's not any homework for this episode. I just wanted to give you the context so that when I'm doing the episodes where I'm actually talking about, target market and lead gen and lead nurturing and sales and marketing and all that stuff, that I don't have to give you backstory. I can just get straight into the meat of it. But if you want the workbook, the 2026 business planner, you can put workbook or planner, either one. Put planner in the comments, and I will send you a fillable Google Doc, and you can answer the questions that go along with each episode. I'm making this kind of like a mini course. I really want you to actually get something out of it. I don't want this to be something that you just binge watch and don't make any changes to your business. If you're one of the real ones, I really, really want to help you. I want the real ones to be the ones that are top of their niche and are making the most money, because I know that you're the ones that will actually making a difference in people's lives. As I said before, therapy changed my life and saved my life, but it was personal growth and coaches and healers who actually made it worth living. So you guys are the ones that I want to help. Okay. So in the next episode, I'm going to be talking about trust-based, transparent, honest sales calls and DM conversations that convert 3 times better than the pushy stuff you've been taught. So they feel better and they convert better. And then, in each episode, I'm going to be going into different areas of your business and marketing and sales, and the powerful tweaks that you need to make for 2026 so that you can scale your business, get more high ticket clients, get more repeat clients, more referrals, all the good stuff. So thanks for joining me for episode 0, and I'll see you in episode 1.